a faffing around experiment video. So I can't pronounce it. There's an Italian dish that's made with guanciale and spaghetti, pasta alla Gricia. I can't pronounce it. I'm rubbish, and I still haven't looked it up, and I do apologise. So the basic premise of the sauce, the pasta sauce, is to cook the bacon, and then you form the sauce with the lard that comes out of the bacon, some pecorino cheese, and the water from the pasta. So that kind of makes sense. You kind of make it's like a bit of a deconstructed cheesy sauce type of thing. And you toss it all together. It's kind of cooked. I've made it before. I've faffed around with it. I've added vegetables and all that kind of stuff. I kind of thought, can we make it with sausages instead of guanciale? Because it's going to add like a different kind of depth of flavour. So if you were to get some like Italian sausages that normally have fennel and herbs and maybe a few bits of spices, that would be kind of quite nice. My local butchers doesn't sell Italian sausages, but they do sell Brazilian sausages, which I've had before, which are a little bit spicy. They've got some chili in, and they've got some herbs in, and probably a little bit of pepper, but they're very nice. So what I thought is what we'll do is we'll see if we can make the pasta thingamajig that I can't pronounce properly because I'm a bit ignorant. We'll see if we can make it with these sausages, and if it works with these sausages, then it should work with any good quality sausage. Alright, I'm just putting the skins in the bin. So I've taken the skins off, and we're now going to cook the sausages until they are crisp. So I'm not going to put any oil in the pan. I'm presuming that there's going to be some fat that comes out of the sausages, and that's what will crisp up the sausages. The basic recipe is, well, there's 125 grams of sausage. It was expensive, if I'm honest. It was nearly £2, which I thought was quite expensive for 2 sausages. I don't know the reason. I'm considering that sausages are supposed to be cheap, but I don't know. Yeah, so 125 grams of sausage, 250 grams of cheap supermarket pasta. We've got a little bit of fat, which I've always got a little bit of bacon, a little bit of lard in the fridge from draining off other dishes, because it's just super tasty and just kind of improves things, and certainly better than a lot of fats that you can buy. So it's just, I've always got it, so we'll use that if not too much fat comes out of the sausages. And then we've got some cheap, because I'm all about the cheap, some Italian style hard cheese. Said it before, I don't know why it's called Italian hard cheese. It's probably just a particularly young or not particularly good quality Italian cheese, so that it hasn't been properly matured for the amount of time that a Parmesan or a Pecorino has been aged for. Or maybe it might be a mix of different types of milk. So it might be a little bit of cow milk, or buffalo milk, and some ewe's milk or some goat's. I don't know, but it is what it is, and it's cheap, and it's quite young, and it's quite soft. So particularly good for making a cheese sauce this way. So you don't see it, but I'm going to fry this, crisp it up, so it goes a little bit looking like mince. So it'll go nice and crispy, fat will come out of it, and then we'll take that out, and then we'll cook the pasta, and you will see. So we'll just let that cook, breaking it up like that. There is I've seen another dish which is similar to what I'm going to do, but instead of forming a sauce with the cheese, what you do is you toss the pasta, cook the sausage, cook the pasta, add the pasta, and then you add creme fraiche, and that's kind of quite a nice easy thing to do as well. I've also done it with yogurt, and it worked with cream as well. If you had some cream and some lemon juice, that would work as well. But anyway, we're going to do pasta. If I say like buffalo it, then obviously I'm not mispronouncing it. But anyway, we'll crisp this up, and then we'll come back when we are ready to cook pasta and all that kind of stuff. Right, so the sausage is cooked. As you can see there, it's all nice and brown. I had to add some fat to it. I had to add like 3 teaspoons of my lard to it because it was a bit dry. So we'll just need to separate the meat from the fat, because we need the fat to create the sauce. So, but we don't want too much fat. So we just need to get rid of the sausage out of the pan. Because what will happen is, if we leave the sausage in, or if you leave the bacon in when you're making the dish normally, when using bacon, what it does is all the cheese wants to stick to the bacon instead of form the sauce. So you need to kind of pull out the bacon. So the water's not just, I suppose I could have done it in real time and had the water coming up to the boil and cook the bacon. See, it's only taken 5 minutes to cook the bacon, and that's what time it would have taken to bring the water up to the boil. So I could have done it in real time, but that's just bad time management on my behalf. So, is that going to be enough fat? Yeah, that's probably going to be enough fat. We'll just add a little bit more. We'll just add a little bit more. So we'll just add a little bit more. So there's about 2 teaspoons worth of fat in there. I suppose a dessert spoon, something that size, depending on the size of your dessert spoon. That water's coming to boil. I'll put some salt in it. So you don't need to see that. So what we'll do is the pasta water will come up to the boil, and we'll cook the pasta for half the amount of time it needs to cook for. It normally cooks for 10 minutes. Does pasta. We're going to cook it for 5 minutes, and then we're going to finish off the cooking in the pan with the fat and some of the pasta water. You'll see as I'm doing it. I have noticed with this sausage there's quite a lot of chilli in it, because you can see the chilli seeds. But it'll be nice and fiery, and there'll be lots of flavour, and all that flavour will go into the fat, and it'll make a really kind of quite nice sauce. But anyway, so you don't need to see me cooking the pasta. That's kind of quite a little bit too ridiculous. So as soon as the water boils, put the pasta in, and then we're back when the 5 minutes is up with the pasta's been cooking for 5 minutes. Right, so the pasta has, oh, got some chilli up my nose. The pasta has, let me sneeze. The pasta's had 5 minutes, so we need to turn that off, and we need to transfer the pasta to the wok, frying pan, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to finish off the cooking in this pan using some of the pasta water. So what this is going to do is this is going to create the sauce. Because there is starch that's going to be released from the pasta as it cooks, and there is a little bit of starch in that pasta water. Now, quite difficult to replicate cooking restaurant food in a kitchen when you're doing things like this, because the pasta water in a restaurant will have been absolutely saturated with the starch from lots of pasta throughout the day. So kind of quite difficult to make a sauce like this at home, but we'll give it a go. So what's going to happen is the starch and the pasta and the water and the fat are going to emulsify together to create the sauce. You will see this at the bottom of the pan, like that. See how it's gone cloudy? The water at the bottom of the pan, that is because the fat and the starch and the water have started to emulsify together. The steam from the water evaporate cooking, that's what's going to cook the pasta, so we don't need to worry. It doesn't need to be completely submerged in water to cook that pasta, it just needs liquid, and that's how we're going to cook it. It's going to be quite al dente anyway, so it's just a simple case of cooking it like this for a few minutes, keeping it moving around. What we're basically aiming for is to keep adding a little bit of water as it cooks, just enough so it doesn't start. We don't want it to fry, we just want it to kind of steamy, kind of cook like you're cooking things in a wok. So there's enough liquid in there that the pasta's going to cook, but not letting it boil off so it starts to fry. And it's going to take 5 minutes. So it's cooking 5 minutes in the pasta water. It's going to take about 5 minutes to cook in here. We're aiming for quite a lot of the water to be evaporated by the time the pasta's cooked. So as the pasta's cooked, just about as the pasta's cooked, we want most of this liquid to have disappeared. You can always add a little bit more, but kind of quite difficult if you've got too much liquid. Then we're going to add the cheese. We're going to give it a stir around. Well, we're going to turn the temperature off because we don't want to cook the cheese. If we heat the cheese too much, it will split. The fats will start coming out of the cheese, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's not going to give us the nicest appearing sauce. Aesthetically a pleasing sauce. it's not going to, that's okay. So a little bit more water. It's got plenty of cooking time. I did actually think potentially the way around there not being enough starch in the pasta water, because if you imagine that if I was to cook some more pasta in that water now for the next dish, the water will get even more starch in it because I've added more pasta to it. So, and then I'd take that pasta out and I'd make the next dish, and then I'd add some more pasta, so that water will get more and more and more saturated with the starch from the pasta. So it's going to make it much easier to form the sauce from that water as the evening would go on in a restaurant, if you know anything about how restaurants work. So it's kind of quite difficult to replicate that at home. But what I was thinking was potentially what you could do, and I might have a go at it in the future when I can be bothered faffing around with it, is you potentially could cook the pasta in the water for a minute just to soften it, and then you could finish off cooking the pasta in the pan like this, and then you would get lots of starch coming out of the pasta as it was cooked, and you would get a much better sauce. So it would kind of be like it's just starting to fry, you can hear it. It would be more like a risotto type of thing. So you would add a little bit more liquid as it was absorbed and as it evaporated off. So that's what I would think, potentially have a go at that sometime in the future, the way around it. But to be honest, that's really kind of quite a chefy thing to do, if I'm honest, and I don't think that would be quite appealing to most people. So don't need to add any pepper because the sausage is really quite spicy. But I'll taste it and see if we need to add any salt. Yeah, we need to add some salt. And it's nearly cooked as well, so I'll have to free running salt. So it's salt. And how much liquid have we got left? Right. I think we need a bit more liquid than that. So a little bit more liquid in. Wait until that liquid comes up, fully up to boil. The pasta's almost cooked, so just want to get that liquid up to a high temperature it actually melts the cheese. Because it will have, that's not properly boiling, it's not properly boiling water, so we just need to bring it up to temperature by putting it into the pan. So as soon as it's boiling in this pan, then we'll turn the heat off, and then we'll add the cheese, and we'll kind of try and see if we can form the sauce and see if it's kind of works. Can't see why it won't. That looks really kind of quite emulsified, like there's a lot of starch that's come out of the pasta. So one of the bonuses of using cheap pasta. Right, so heat off, cheese in. It's quite a soft, hard cheese, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem of it melting. And this big chunk of cheese for me. Oh. Toss the pasta with the cheese and the sauce. Cheese will melt, it will mix with the liquid in the pan, and it will form the sauce, which it has done quite well. You don't need to add any more water. That's alright. See, that's okay. That's done the job quite well. That's alright. So, probably actually need some more cheese. I'm not going to put in some more cheese. That's 75 grams, but as much, probably between 75 and 100 grams, I would recommend a little bit of water, just to slacken it slightly, and then we'll add in the sausage, give it a mix around, and away we go. That's alright. That's alright. Now we've got some globules of cheese, but that's alright. It's probably because I'm using cheap cheese and pasta, but it'd be alright. So, I did this dish kind of with pasta with breadcrumbs. So, because the pork sausage is going to be nice and crispy, it's going to form a nice and crunchy and give lots of flavour. I'm sure it'd be delicious. So, right, that's that. I don't want to cook it anymore. Into the bowl. through this. Not making too much of a mess. I'm not bothered about the grease in the bottom of the bowl. So that there. Not add all of it because I need to take a picture. Get those bits of pork on there. Fish those out. Make it look a little bit better. There we go. Nice shiny sauce. Can you see that? Nice shiny sauce, coated the pasta. Lovely, lovely. Probably need some more cheese in it, if I'm honest. I'll probably need to have a proper another go at the recipe and add double the amount of cheese, because you can't be skimpy. But anyway, so there you go. That works. So it looks like it works with any kind of pork product. If it be cheap bacon or guanciale or a sausage. And obviously the type of sausage that you use kind of impacts the flavour. So like as long as it's a good quality sausage with lots of good flavours to it, it's going to work and it's going to be delicious. Because what happens is the pasta takes on the flavour from the lard and the sausage as it cooks, and the cheese as well. So it kind of forms a sauce. But anyway, there you go. Easy peasy, kind of. Is it easy peasy? I think it is. Nice, quick, easy tea for me.